Greetings, fans with too much time. It's me, your fan with, not quite as much time anymore. However, no regrets. And now, before I get into the primary reason why I'm making this video, I want you all to visualize something with me. I want you to imagine the Gondorian torch keeper who keeps the light of the fire, who makes sure that when the beacons are lit, he lights his beacon so that Rohan may be called to their alliance, so that help may be called in a time of crisis. Imagine that he stays there, shivering and cold in his duty, but still stalwart, and one day he sees that distant light signaling him to light his own fire. And so he climbs from the mid-mountain to the very top. Winds tearing at him, cold scratching at his face. He harnesses what will he has to shield the fire with his arms and hands, carrying the torch up the slope, knowing that if it goes out, he'd have to make the trip all over again. And finally he reaches there and he touches the torch to that bundle of oil-soaked wood, and the flame goes up. And he can only hope that the next watcher will be alive to see it, that Rohan will answer the call, and he turns around, and Rohan's right there. Like, just the entire army. Yo, you called? Because that is exactly what I experienced yesterday. The response to my video has been gargantuanly enormous. Thank you so much. I'm sure that you will all see the series speed up now, because there is clearly a lot of support and desire from people with adequate skills to see it done. And that actually leads me to why this video is being made. You see, the idea here is, well, to alleviate the work for myself, but not to crush anybody by alleviating myself. I don't want to move the work that is kind of smashing me a bit flat and then smash someone else flat with it. So if I can split this up, I will. But in order to even begin talking about splitting this up, and in order to help people, since I got so many responses, to help people really know if they want to be a part of this or not, the thing that is entailed. And listen, this is probably going to sound pretty unreasonable. Brace yourself for unreasonability. I'm going to try to do the best that I can, but I'm going to basically hold you to a similar standard that I've been holding myself as I've been trying to put these up, because the idea is to not decrease the quality and to increase the efficiency. So if I can split this up, I will, because I don't want to crush anyone with all this work. But it is a lot of work. What I can offer for it isn't as much as it's worth. So just be aware of that now. And of course, we're trying to meet deadlines for this, so there is some pressure here for when you receive work, if you do sign up for this task, to get it done as quickly and with as much quality as you can, striking that balance, because of course mistakes would look bad on all of us. That aside, moving along, to try to, allow you to understand this, I'm going to restrict the episode lengths that I do with the team to about 30 minutes long. Around-ish, 30-ish minutes-ish long, like between 30 and maybe 40 minutes. I swear to God, guys, I've never done this before. I am terrible at estimations, as those of you who have been with me for some time know. So these may be altered depending on how feasible they are. Please help me out and work with me. But my very rough estimate for how long a 30-minute episode, 30-ish minute episode tends to be is between 4,500 words and 5,000 words. So that's how long the scripts will be. Trust me, I have made scripts which are titanically far more enormous than that, and I do so on a regular basis. I will be mitigating that for the purposes of this, whether I have to break an episode up into parts or whether I just make the episodes in general shorter. You will not be getting more to work with in content from me than that. Maybe even a little less. I put the lower limit there, but that lower limit is liable to change and shift around, and frankly, I'll never add superfluous things just to reach a certain amount. So more that the average that you can expect will be between 4,000 and 5,000 or below. And just so you all know, everything that I will be discussing from this point forward will be based on that. When I refer to an episode, it's this kind of episode, not my 1 hour, 2 hour, 3 hour long bonanzas, if you will. So, before I begin the rest of the description of this, let me just tell you what I will provide, at least at the start. I will write, obviously, provide my own literary edit, and the voice acting for the series all on my own, with the exception of the incredible aid that I do already get from Omniversal Studios and his AI voices. And not only his AI voices, he also helps to edit the dialogue, with the audio editing, because I basically just send him audio raws. Omniversal is fantastic. He really is fantastic. But in any case, with the exception of what Omniversal provides, I will provide the writing, the voice acting, and you will receive at some part of the end of that stage, depending on what it is that you go into. Speaking of which, the first step of the editing that I need help with, and again, that Omniversal already helps me with, is the audio editing and specifically the alignment. And by alignment, I mean the removing of the bad audio and the leaving of the good audio. So this is a pretty simple step, but it is pretty tedious. Forgive me for that. And if you take this part of the job, if you end up doing this, know that you will hear all of my bloopers, and no, they are not very entertaining. They are just me blah 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 being words. So it's just, forgive me for that. Feel free to skip them using the formula I will provide now. The way I do it is very simple. I speak a line over and over until it sounds right to me. That doesn't always mean it's right. Sometimes I will have to correct. I will handle all the corrections and the editing for corrections. They tend to be small. I don't have to correct a ton of things, so I'll just sit there and say the same line over and over. And sometimes I won't hear it right, and I'll think it sounds right, and it's not, but that's pretty rare. So you don't have to worry about any of that. Just know that the last take of any given line, that is the take that you should take. That is the formula that I use. I will try not to break away from that formula. Sometimes my eyes play tricks on me and I begin reading the same paragraph over again, and I'll try to stop myself, and sometimes my eyes play tricks on me and I'll skip a paragraph and then have to go back to it. I will try to verbally disclaim to you, I missed this paragraph, I'm going to go back to that now. You can keep me saying that if you want. You can be as robotic about this as you like. For me, it's effortless to snip that out of the audio. It's a tiny amount of editing, and I don't expect to have to direct you that way a lot. But I will, if I miss a paragraph, I'll try to give you forewarning in the audio. But I realize that you may just be looking at the audio shape and snipping out things like that. Just whatever you do, when you finish taking the last line of every take and putting them together, you must make sure, one, that you don't skip anything. And if you notice that I've skipped something, please let me know. It will be a great benefit, but it would definitely suck if we missed a paragraph or something because my eyes got watery or because you accidentally saw similar line waves, sound waves, and snipped them out accidentally, not realizing you were snipping out more than extra takes. So make sure that everything is there. I will send you the script, the whole script. So just when you're done, put on some headphones, listen to the audio, and read along at the same time. And when your eyes don't match what you're hearing, that's when we've got a discrepancy, and that's how you'll know. So that's one. The other thing is just you are the one forming the alignment here. So please make sure that the words are adequately spaced. It shouldn't be too difficult. I don't just speak the lines in one word and then another word, you know what I'm saying? I speak them in whole sentences, whole paragraphs, as far as my breath will take me, basically. So you can trust that you can trust that you won't have to be measuring every single word and how long it should be from every single other word. And typically speaking, I will try to stop on commas and on periods. So just make sure that there's not a huge gap between sentences or within sentences, so that it sounds good, which you'll be able to hear when you listen through it to make sure that everything is in place. So it should be a nice thing that you can take down in one take, and any mistake you make, you can catch at the end relatively easily, hopefully. That is the audio alignment. Audio alignment is not very difficult, but I'm not going to lie, I personally, at least, have found it to be ridiculously tedious, a thing that will stop a lot of things from happening just because it requires that I have to... It's a very monotonous task. So for the alignment service alone, I can offer $20 per episode. Sometimes these alignments take a very long time, sometimes they don't, but, I can appreciate how mind-numbing it can be, and that's the least amount that I can offer for a person to perform a full line alignment, not just on all the dialogue, but all the narration, the entire thing. So, line alignment service alone, $20 per episode. I can use Audacity to increase the audio quality of the recording once this part is done. You can do that as well if you like and if you know how to, but I can't offer anything extra for that because it's honestly a very small step that doesn't take me almost any time. Next are the sound effects, from explosions, doors opening, footsteps in silent spaces, or the subtle strain of a leather-gloved hand being balled into a tight fist in anger. These are parts of the audio which are not required. I can definitely release episodes without any sound effects, but I feel like they add a lot to the story and really help to add to the mood. These sound effects, though, are sort of inconsistent. Sometimes we're in the middle of a battle and they're just present everywhere. They're as present as the music. And sometimes we're indoors with an episode that has a lot of conversation and very little sound effects at all. Whether it's a lot or a teeny tiny bit, I can offer an additional $15 for sound effects in the episode. Because, quality sound effects, just so you're aware. You can ask me for some. I will send you the sound effects that I've been using, the sound effects that I have. But what makes a sound effect most quality isn't necessarily the sound of the sound effect itself. It's its timing, its placement. I will pay an additional $15 for well-timed, well-dispersed sound effects. After that, once the sound effects are in place and once the video is aligned, there comes the music, which I will provide and edit into the episode myself, simply because I have the best chance of striking the right mood with the music, especially when I have more time to focus on it. And I will definitely have more time to focus on it, since all the time that I would have spent doing the previous two things, I can just do picking the better music selection or continuing to write the next episode, which I'm very excited for if I can manage to get this team off the ground. But next, insofar as the work that I would want help with, is the video editing itself. I will provide the intro portions that are common in my videos, the disclaimer, the introduction, the small lead-up going up to the title drop, and right up to the start of the episode. From there, I would leave the rest to you. And there are two kinds of styles for the video editing that you can go with. I would side with whichever one you choose. Honestly, it's just up to your personal comfort. My baseline can be very far off base from others, so it will be very custom to the way that you want to do it. There's the old style and there's the brand new style. The old style is essentially lining up cool images one after the other in a moving slideshow that should be somewhat related in some basic way to what the audience is listening to. Included between these are the transition slides with the names or name of the person or people who will be involved in the next section of the story. Some of these slideshow images can be sometimes AI images or videos. For those, I will provide them for you. You don't have to try to figure out how to use an AI system or an AI prompt or pay for whatever so that you can get new images of Samael or whatever. I will send you what I have. I will also send you the official art so that you can use it at your discretion. And yeah, if you want to, you can generate AI images if you feel they're quality. I am not going to discourage you from playing around and even taking a few risks here, just because, I mean, one of the few things I can provide here is just giving you some amount of relatively low pressure experience area. You know, I'm not going to sit here and fire you, black mark you, or put some bad thing on your resume that follows you around or anything. So if you want to experiment, if you want to go and use some AI image generation to try to create a more tailored image for a particular scene that you like as you listen to this, feel free. I endorse all acts of passion. Worst case thing that will happen is I will ask you not to do it again if it turns out to sort of flop or I can't see it working, but I will not scrap an episode or even make you to remake it unless it's really bad. Like if you add in a bunch of AI generated images of Slanesh titties, then I am going to have to probably end our collaboration. But I don't suspect that I will receive a whole lot of that as responses. You know, the basic obvious things. Anything aside from that, let it go forth. Let the audience judge its quality. Let us see the effect of this act. I'm very open to those things. So, in any case, like I said, I would provide you the basic images. You're free to generate images yourself if you like. I will also be providing some AI video snippets for certain things, and I will, tell you where they're supposed to go. Again, the ultimate placement, I will defer to you. This is just so that you don't look at a random series of AI moving things. You're like, okay, what part of the story exactly is this supposed to go to? I will reduce the load on your brain and reduce the investigatory work that you would need to do by just letting you know where it's intended to go, and you can move it wherever you like. But that would be how the AI things kind of work, and it's basically a slideshow moving forward from that. Whenever you have still images, I do ask that you just use the editing tool to just have the camera slide over the image a bit to add a bit of motion. It can really help with just keeping the eyes soothed and keeping things from looking too static. But it's not something that I expect to be very hard, but it does consume a lot of time. I will also send you a bunch of standard images, like a variety of images I get from the internet, and for you to incorporate, so as to, again, to reduce the load on you. But if you feel that you need more images to intersperse, and you don't want to use AI images, of course, like I already mentioned, you can go ahead and go online and look up images, and as long as they're not explicit, and usually just sexually explicit, as long as that's not the case, then feel free to add them in. You will have ultimate final say of the way that this thing looks, just as long as you follow along these basic guidelines of the old style. And moving on from there, we have the new style. Let me see here. The new style you guys would see in my last episode. You'd be working with a lesser variety of images, but with more animated elements. The backgrounds, for example, are all going to be moving in some way or animated in some way. I will send them to you. You don't have to go find your own animated backgrounds. I will go ahead and send you a spattering of them, and you may keep them and use them in whatever you like to for free. I get these paid from a website, but keep them. They're consider them additional payment for the work you do through collaboration. But the point is just that I will send you a bunch of these. You can ask for more if you feel like you're not getting a good selection. But what you're to do with these is loop and combine them to create the atmosphere that this segment of the story is sort of going for. Which by the time you get it, you'll have the story with the music and the sound effects, so hopefully you'll be able to detect that and have a good feel for it. Otherwise, I've already failed. So it wouldn't be on you. But yeah, loop and combine those moving backgrounds. The actual character images will only appear either singularly or beside each other when they begin to speak or get directly involved in some intense part of the story. I will send you the images for each of the characters, which will usually consist of portraits for obvious reasons. Though if you again have a hand with AI images, I encourage you to go ahead and make your own, especially if you feel like that a particular expression doesn't match a certain scene and you feel like you could go ahead and make one that's better. Play around with that, make that, and it will be included. Again, you have a lot of control here insofar as that's concerned. This again will require a less variety of images, but you are free to add images as you like. But just keep in mind that both for the old and the new style, adding images of any kind is 100% optional. You do not have to. And that's like the body of the work. But after adding the body of these visuals, the next step is to label the music that I use in the episode as it appears. I will send you the name of the song, who it is by, and the timestamp for when they should be included. So you just need to go to those timestamps and put this down in a little caption at the bottom like you see often in my episodes. I will also need you to do this for any of Kubik's images that are used. I would need Kubik to be credited. I'll send you the text that would be used for the crediting, but you are in charge of where Kubik's images would be included, so you will have to just know to include them whenever you use them. Following that, all that's really left is the credits and the intro. So the credits will include my customary intro texts. I will send them to you, though they're very easily referenced at the end of the vast majority of my episodes. And following that, you'll also have a list of the people who are helping the series the absolute most. I will send you my intro texts. I will send you in any case, you know where to find them if you need any kind of reference, because again, they're in most of my episodes. As for those patrons who are helping me and keeping this series afloat, I'll send you a screenshot of the names of the patrons, and the order that they should be included in. I used to include everybody, but now there are enough $1 donations from enough people that that at this point, choosing enough music to fill out the entire end credits is becoming its own task. Though I greatly thank you all for that. And frankly, I might still go back to doing that if my editor doesn't mind adding that much more work to their side of things. I would go ahead and just find more music. But it does seem to extend the episodes a bit more than they should be, so I've cut it down to just a certain level of donation level just to keep it from being like a hour and a half episode where 15 minutes of it are just credits. In any case, I will send you the screenshots of the names. I will send you the order they should be listed in, and that will lead up to the very final part of the intro, and we'll conclude the video editing. For either the new or the old way, the video editing will be compensated in the amount of $35 per video. It is also rather monotonous, and I don't know how much I can really split all this up without making it now become cumbersome and take longer than it normally would have, because I have to move it between so many people. If I do find a way of splitting it up, then I'll have to judge the value of either side of things and the difficulty that goes into making them and the tediousness of them, and I'll split the price accordingly. And of course, again, this will go up as my capacity does. The pay, I mean. That being said, this is more or less the breadth of the help that I need. If you feel that you can help me with this, if you feel that you have the passion and you want to see the series not only continue but flourish and pick up its speed and to be a part of that, then please contact me at TooMuchTimeThisFanHas at gmail.com. Go ahead, let me know if you're interested, let me know what you'd like to be working on. It might even be the case that I have several teams that I'll alternate with, so that you guys don't even have to be seeing this as that, like that you might only have to do this bi-weekly, bi-monthly, however fast it is I'm able to consistently push out episodes. This might actually take longer because of the collaboration required per episode to produce than it would normally, maybe, but the idea is that even if the first episode takes longer, I would be working on the second episode while everybody else is helping me work on the first episode. So the actual, the first shot technically took longer to fire, but the second shot was already loading while the first shot was firing, so the second shot seems to come out far faster, and et cetera, with the third and fourth and fifth. So that's sort of the pattern I might end up going with. It very much depends on the responses I get, the things that people are interested in helping me with, and the way that it turns out once we put it into motion. But from the looks of things, it will be put into motion. So if you're interested, again, TooMuchTimeThisFanHas at gmail.com. And for everybody else, I'll see you next time, hopefully with the next episode.